Would you welcome a very exciting young lady, Ann-Margret. She is...
Oh, how do you know that? You know some Swedish girl.
Well, I had a can of sardines for a while at home. No, it isn't.
Every episode of The Tonight Show was a potential headline, and every guest was a possible viral sensation. From surprise reunions and epic musical collabs to those spontaneous, unscripted moments that blew up in the media, The Tonight Show is still a pop culture powerhouse. It's not just a TV show, it's a nightly celebration of everything that makes us laugh, cry, and binge watch. Talking about iconic interviews to amazing performances, remember when Ann-Margret lit up the stage with her electrifying rendition of "I've Got the Music in Me"? That wasn't just a performance. It was an experience that left everyone breathless and cemented its place in late-night history. As the band kicked off with the opening chords, Ann-Margret owned the stage like the total pro she is. Rocking a sparkly outfit under the bright studio lights, she dove into "I've Got the Music in Me," a song everyone already loved. Her voice was strong and crystal clear, filling the room. You can feel the music coursing through her veins as you feel it in yours. But it wasn't just her singing that had everyone hooked. Her dance moves were pure fire. Ann-Margret danced with a passion that matched her powerful voice, moving in sync with the song's vibe. It felt less like a TV performance and more like an intimate concert just for the viewers. The cameras caught every bit of her magic, from her expressive eyes to her flawless, graceful moves. Johnny Carson, who had seen it all, was visibly in awe, knowing this was a moment that would go down in The Tonight Show's history. Both the studio audience and viewers at home were mesmerized, swept up in the whirlwind of Ann-Margret's energy. When the final notes faded and the applause erupted, it was clear this was more than just a performance. Ann-Margret didn't just entertain. She turned The Tonight Show's stage into a legendary moment where music, dance, and sheer charisma came together in an unforgettable way. Even years later, this performance still hits hard, showcasing Ann-Margret's timeless talent and the magic of The Tonight Show. It's a highlight in her dazzling career. A night where she didn't just have the music in her, she was the music. If you want to relive the magic, the performance is all over video platforms, just a click away from transporting you back to that iconic night. It's a piece of TV history, a masterclass in being a triple threat, and a reminder of how live performances can create moments that last forever. She talks about some crazy memories from when she first moved to the US as a kid, not knowing a single word of English. Talk about a rough start. But she picked it up though, even though her mom still rocks a thick accent. Then there's the epic tale of her marriage trip to Sweden, where her hubby Roger had to communicate with her non-English speaking brothers through smiles and moose meatballs. Yes, moose meatballs are a real thing. For those that don't know Ann-Margret, Ann-Margret Olsen, born April 28, 1941, and better known as just Ann-Margret, is a Swedish-American actress and singer who's been killing it in showbiz for ages. She's snagged 5 Golden Globe Awards and got nominated for 2 Oscars, 2 Grammys, a Screen Actors Guild Award, and 6 Emmys. She even won an Emmy in 2010 for a guest spot on Asterisk Law and Order, Special Victims Unit Asterisk. She's famous for her roles in classics like Pocketful of Miracles 1961, State Fair 1962, Bye Bye Birdie 1963, Viva Las Vegas 1964, The Cincinnati Kid 1965, Carnal Knowledge 1971, The Train Robbers 1973, Tommy 1975, Magic 1978, The Villain 1979, The Return of the Soldier 1982, Who Will Love My Children 1983, 52, Pickup 1986, Newsies 1992, Grumpy Old Men 1993, Grumpier Old Men 1995, Any Given Sunday 1999, Taxi 2004, The Breakup 2006, and Going in Style 2017. Her career has spanned 7 decades, starting way back in 1961. People used to call her the female Elvis Presley because of her sultry, vibrant voice. She had a top 20 hit in 1961 and a charting album in 1964. Plus, she scored a disco hit in 1979. She dropped a critically acclaimed gospel album in 2001 and a Christmas album in 2004. And in April 2023, she released her first rock album, Asterisk, Born to be Wild Asterisk. She's from Valsjöbyn, I dare you to pronounce that out loud, a tiny town in Sweden filled with lumberjacks and farmers, basically in the middle of nowhere near the Arctic Circle. Her dad, Carl Gustav Olsson, originally from Örnsköldsvik, had dreams of moving to the States. But things got complicated when Germany invaded Norway in 1940. After Ann-Margret was born, her family eventually made the move to America in 1946, and she's been a U.S. citizen since 1949. As a kid, Ann-Margret showed off her dance moves at the Marjorie Young School of Dance, and she was a natural from the get-go. Her parents were super supportive, with her mom even making all of her dance costumes by hand. To make ends meet, her mom worked as a receptionist at a funeral parlor after her dad got seriously injured on the job. While in high school at New Trier High School in Winnetka, Illinois, Ann-Margret kept up with her theater gigs, following in the footsteps of famous alumni like Charlton Heston and Rock Hudson. She got her big break when she joined the Subtletones, a group that performed at the Dunes Hotel and Casino in Las Vegas, sharing the stage with big names like Tony Bennett and Al Hirt. George Burns caught wind of her talent and invited her to audition for his holiday show. Variety even called her a goldmine, saying she had the potential to become a star. She kicked off her music career back in 1961 with RCA Victor. Her first jam with them was Lost Love. Her debut album, And Here She Is, Ann-Margret, was recorded in Hollywood with the help of Marty Paich. Later, she teamed up with Chet Atkins and some other cool cats in Nashville to produce more albums. She had this throaty singing voice that was often compared to Elvis, and RCA tried to ride that wave by having her cover Heartbreak Hotel and other Presley-style tunes. She even scored a minor hit with I Just Don't Understand in 1961, which even caught the Beatles' attention when they covered it in 1963. Her biggest album, Beauty and the Beard, dropped in 1964 and featured trumpeter Al Hirt. Plus, she had some cool moments like appearing on the Jack Benny program and singing the Bachelor in Paradise theme at the Oscars in 1962. But her deal with RCA ended in 1966. She didn't stop there, though. In the late 70s and early 80s, she got into the dance scene, scoring hits like Love Rush. Then in 2001, she switched gears and recorded a gospel album, God is Love, The Gospel Sessions, which even got her a Grammy nom. She kept the Christmas vibes going with Ann-Margret's Christmas Carol collection in 2004. Fast forward to 2023, and she's back in the studio, cooking up some fresh tunes for Cleopatra Records. Her album Born to be Wild dropped, featuring covers of classics like Splish Splash and Son of a Preacher Man, with guest appearances from legends like Pete Townsend and the Oak Ridge Boys. You can find it on vinyl, CD, or streaming platforms. Take your pick. Back in 1961, Ann-Margret landed a sweet gig with 20th Century Fox after nailing a screen test. Her big screen debut was in Frank Capra's Pocketful of Miracles, where she starred alongside Bette Davis. She totally K-ed it and even bagged her first Golden Globe for New Actress of the Year. Next up, she rocked the role of Emily in the 1962 remake of State Fair, playing the bad girl opposite Bobby Darin and Pat Boone. They thought she was too much of a bombshell to play the good girl, which kind of fit her real-life vibe of being shy off stage but a total firecracker on stage. Her role as Kim in Bye Bye Birdie, 1963, skyrocketed her to stardom. The movie premiered at Radio City Music Hall, breaking records left and right, and she even got a Golden Globe nomination for Best Actress. Then Ann-Margret crossed paths with the king himself, Elvis Presley, on the set of Viva Las Vegas in 1964. They were like two peas in a pod, with their electric energy lighting up the screen. They recorded a bunch of duets together, but only one made it into the final film. Elvis's manager was worried she'd steal the show, but let's be real, she totally held her own. It was also the debut film choreography credit for David Winters, who became a regular collaborator for both Ann-Margret and Elvis. After Bye Bye Birdie and Viva Las Vegas, Ann-Margret was on fire in Hollywood. But then, she hit a rough patch with a bunch of movies that tanked at the box office. First up was Kitten with a Whip, where she played a battered delinquent who shakes up a politician. Then came The Pleasure Seekers, another rom-com musical. Next, she was pumped to work on Bus Riley's Back in Town, but it turned out to be a major disappointment. So bad that the writer took his name off the credits. But wait, it gets worse. She passed up a cooker role in Cat Ballou without even knowing. Her agent didn't bother telling her about it. Ouch. Finally, she got back on track with The Cincinnati Kid, where she played a femme fatale opposite Steve McQueen. It wasn't a huge role, but at least it got her back in the game. Oh, and during all this drama, she met her future hubby, Roger Smith, at a club show in Vegas. Love was in the air, even though her parents weren't too thrilled about it. In 1966, she was a total boss, starring in 4 films. Made in Paris was supposed to be a fashion-forward rom-com, but it flopped due to bad writing. Then she did a USO tour in Vietnam, followed by a remake of Stagecoach. The Swinger was a total disaster, nearly derailing her Hollywood career. Luckily, she bounced back with Murderer's Row, a spy spoof that was a hit. Taking a break from the big screen, she rocked the Vegas stage in 1967 with her hubby as her manager. Even Elvis himself came to see her show. Talk about legendary. She also did a couple of TV specials and returned to Saigon for a Christmas show with Bob Hope. It was a wild ride for sure, but Ann-Margret always knew how to come out on top. Ann-Margret and Roger Smith were the ultimate power couple, married for a whopping 50 years until he sadly passed away in 2017. But before Roger, Ann-Margret had her fair share of romances, including a fling with Eddie Fisher and some serious speculation about her relationship with Elvis Presley during their Viva Las Vegas days. And that's another juicy story on its own. So Ann-Margret and Elvis Presley's love story kicks off when they starred together in Viva Las Vegas back in '64. Sparks flew on and off the set, and they couldn't deny the chemistry they had. Ann-Margret even described it as a total force of nature. They just couldn't help themselves. Both of them were total triple threats, singing, acting, and dancing their hearts out. Their shared passion for showbiz brought them even closer. But here's the twist. Elvis was already with Priscilla at the time. Despite that, he and Ann-Margret kept their thing going on the down low, sneaking around and sending love letters once the cameras stopped rolling. But like all good things, their fling had to come to an end. Elvis decided to go all in with Priscilla, and Ann-Margret respected his choice. They both moved on, but the memories of their time together stuck with them. Ann-Margret still looks back on her time with Elvis with a smile, even though they didn't end up together. Their romance was seriously iconic, no doubt about it. Everyone's been totally obsessed with Ann-Margret and Elvis's relationship, right? It's been all over the place. TV movies, documentaries, you name it. Like there was this TV movie back in '79 called Elvis, where Annette Day played Ann-Margret. It was all about Elvis's life, but they totally highlighted his thing with Ann-Margret during Viva Las Vegas. Then in '81, there was Elvis and the Beauty Queen, which was mainly about Elvis and Linda Thompson. But they threw in some nods to his fling with Ann-Margret too. And let's not forget Elvis by the Presleys in 2005, where they used home footage and stuff to talk about Elvis's bond with Ann-Margret. These movies and docs try to capture their vibe, you know, the chemistry and respect they had. But remember, it's all entertainment, so it might not be the whole story.
Will someone tell this Romeo I'm not his Juliet?
Did you know Ann-Margret was a total baddie away on 2 wheels? She was into motorcycles and even rode a Triumph T100C Tiger in one of her movies, The Swinger. She was so into it that she appeared in ads for Triumph motorcycles back in the '60s. But all that adrenaline came with a price. She had a pretty gnarly accident in 2000 that left her with 3 broken ribs and a fractured shoulder. When it comes to her beliefs, Ann-Margret is pretty deep. She's all about faith and spirituality, finding meaning in the beauty of nature and her loved ones. In a 2012 interview, she got real about her relationship with God and Jesus Christ, saying it's what keeps her going. And let's not forget about her honorary doctoral degree from the University of Nevada, Las Vegas. That's right, she's not just a Hollywood icon, she's also a doctor. Well, kinda. Ann-Margret, with her vibrant vibe and all-around talent, has totally left her mark on the entertainment world. Her legacy isn't just about her amazing performances. It's also about how she smashed barriers and set new trends for artists. Her dynamic presence on stage and screen inspired a sense of freedom and boldness that resonated with many, including icons like Madonna and Lady Gaga. Madonna, the queen of pop, channels that same fiery spirit and versatility Ann-Margret was known for. From her theatrical performances to her ever-changing image, Madonna's career shows the same courage to push boundaries and redefine what's normal. She's openly said she admires Ann-Margret's artistry and acknowledges the trail she blazed in the industry. Lady Gaga, another performance powerhouse, has a lot in common with Ann-Margret in terms of theatricality and dedication to her craft. Gaga's shows are a mix of drama, fashion, and musical talent, much like Ann-Margret's approach to her art. Gaga's dedication to creating a visual and auditory spectacle that captivates audiences is a clear nod to Ann-Margret's influence. Ann-Margret's impact is also seen in how she handled her career with such grace and resilience. Despite industry challenges, she maintained a level of professionalism and authenticity that's become a benchmark for aspiring artists. Her ability to switch between different roles and music genres showcased her adaptability and skill, inspiring others to pursue versatility in their own careers. Plus, Ann-Margret championed creative expression, proving that an artist could be both a singer and an actress. She paved the way for future generations to explore multiple creative avenues without being stuck in one box. Basically, Ann-Margret's legacy shows how powerful art can be in inspiring change and encouraging individuality. Her influence echoes through the performances of today's artists, pushing them to explore their identities and push the limits in their artistic endeavors. As a trailblazer, she not only lit the way for future stars, but also touched the hearts of audiences worldwide. Her fearless approach to life and art will always be a beacon for those who dare to dream and create. As we wrap up this journey through Ann-Margret's life, let's give a shout out to The Tonight Show. It's like the OG of late-night TV, dishing out epic moments and unforgettable memories like candy. I mean, who could forget Ann-Margret slaying with her cake-or vocals and epic dance moves? She basically owned that stage and left us all in awe. So let's raise a glass to Ann-Margret. She's not just a triple threat, she's a true entertainment queen. Her legacy is here to stay, lighting up our world like the Tonight Show stage.